Hey, welcome back, my super soul sisters. Hey, I wanted to talk about, do we complain more than we actually realize? And even gossip, you know? And it's such an easy one to fall into these days. I was listening to a bunch of kids the other day and they kept on saying, he's so annoying, or she's so annoying, or they're so annoying. And the word annoying kept coming up in the conversation. And I was just like, how you've said that one word annoying in the last 30 minutes, like I think it was 27 times. And I thought, wow, that's a lot, isn't it? When you think about it. And annoying's, it's minor, like they're kids, but in time, what that is happening on an internal level is that the brain is now syncing to, I've got to look for the annoying. The neural plasticity of our wiring works on what we think about, causes the neural pathways to sync up together. Okay, so the synapses send chemical messages from one synapse to another. Okay, and it's an electrical charge. And after a while, they used to say it's hardwired, but you can actually now break it, which is what neuroplasticity is, oh my goodness, I can barely say it, is all about. Is like you can break that, right? Where before we thought it became hardwired and stayed that way, like you can't teach an old dog new tricks. They've actually found out you actually can, but don't use it as an excuse to, oh, well, I've always been that way, so therefore I can't change. And using that word, I can't, immediately tells the brain, well, you've told us that we can't change, so therefore we won't change. Okay. So this is the whole thing with that whole neuroplasticity, is that actually they're not fixed together, that they are, they send from one place to another, but we can break that circuit and get those neurons to start talking to other neural pathways that are more positive. And it does feel really uncomfortable. It's like riding a bike for the first time. You're like, you can't do it. You're really uncomfortable. If you've listened to any of my videos before, this is the whole thing of like, when we first start doing it, you realize just how crap you are at doing whatever it is. But if you practice the right way, you eventually do get it, and then it becomes second nature. And it's no different to how we think and how we behave and how we speak. So I wanted to draw attention to that, because it's just like, I would love for you today as a wee challenge to make a little log of, just check how many positive words you say and how many negative words you say. And you'll start noticing patterns, like with those group of people, or kids, it was like the word annoying, and it was like annoying, and then what happens is the others were starting to use it. So now that way, that one kid saying that is now training all the others to start thinking, oh yeah, you're right, they are annoying. And then it's like the brain goes and looks for evidence. It goes and says, right, okay, go into the annoying filing cabinet and pull out all the evidence that proves that person is annoying, okay, or the situation is annoying, or that teacher is annoying. And now they're starting to look down into that drawer, and there's going to be, yes, that person's annoying, that person's annoying, that person's annoying, and this person's annoying, right? Or that situation's annoying. And now that one person has enabled the whole environment to go down the negative pathway of looking for annoying. So what your core phrases that you use during the day that you can go, that's not great. I didn't even realize that I do that, and it's it takes people by surprise when I get people to do the check. And then I go, right, over a week, let's actually average it out. Like, there might be some days you've had a really bad day, or some days where you've had a really good day. So it's not a good benchmark. You want to measure it over a spread of time. And then you go, right, my core words are annoying. It's, I get ticked off. And here's the irony as well. It amazes me, this stuff. It really does, because quite often we talk about, I learned this in hypnotherapy, where we call it body armory. You become what you think about most. And quite often, if you look at the way people hold themselves, you can just see what kind of temperament they'll end up having. Okay, so really angry people are all sort of tight, not always, but really tight and angry and just like they're about to fight, and it's not relaxed. It's not sort of breathe and I can handle this. They're looking for an argument or a fight. It doesn't take much. They get annoyed easily, they get irritated easily, they can go off the handle easily, they're very easily agitated. So if you start training your brain in that way to behave like that every single day, it locks up in your body. And I'll give you an example. There was one person who always, he had a real issue with not having certain level of education. And when people spoke about him, they always used to say, man, he's quite angry because we've got this level of education and he didn't get it. He didn't go to the same college or universities or whatever it was that these people had gone to. And he said, well, he went he was quite snarly with them. He was quite short and curt with them, and he was always looking to outsmart them. And people always, the common phrase that they used with this particular guy was, this was some time ago, it was like, man, he's got a real chip on his shoulder, hasn't he? Like, I feel so uncomfortable talking to him because he's always got to backchat him, trying to make me put me down and him up. And it was because, he didn't get, we surmised that it was because he perhaps had not done the same level of education that everybody else had. Anyway, ironically, he landed up going off to hospital the one time. And you know what he had removed from him? A chip on his shoulder. SHITU not. I mean, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you actually having me on? And for real, he had a chip on his shoulder removed. And I was like, holy smoke, So often, there was another one, I'll give you another example, where this guy, he used to say, I'm just so, excuse my language, I'm just repeating, like, I'm so pissed off with this person, I'm so pissed off with that person, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he landed up with bladder cancer. And I'm like, okay, and I'll give you another example. I had a student once who came through, a patient, client, whatever you wish to call them, and always getting chronic headaches. And her favorite saying was, he or she or they are an absolute pain in the neck. And it turned out that she had a dislocated disc in her neck, that once it was corrected, and I worked with her on changing her language. And I'm just like, what you focus on becomes. So be aware, and I don't want to put the fear of God into you, like, oh my gosh, I say this, these awful things and now that's going to happen to me. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying this, you're aware of it now, so change it, and go on the road of more positivity rather than that negativity. So it's that, be conscious of what your core sayings are, and log it. Like, what's your like when people always, I remember somebody saying, or several people saying to me, they say, Vicky, whenever we ask you, how you're doing, you go, I'm just simply groovy, I'm just groovy, baby, or all the better for seeing you, or I'm fantastic, or things are getting better, or things are improving. I never go, yep, okay, yep, good, I think, and I never dump. Well, I try not to dump on people. I'm sure I do, but it's one of those things of like, somebody goes, oh, how you doing? Oh, tell you what, it's been a tough day, you know, oh my week, and you can just tell this is going to be a hard conversation. And do you want to be that person? Do you want to be that person for other people? Would you want the way you talk to people be, you know, if the way you're talking to them? So if you're bringing down and being an energy vampire, if you go and have a look at that video of mine, your energy vampire shoes, you know, you're going to be the uplifter or you're going to be the vampire. Okay. And if you're going to feed the negativity draw, that's just going to get bigger. Okay. And if you feed the positivity draw, that's going to get bigger. So you've got this moment, the fork in the shoes, you know, fork in the road shoes that I talk about. You've got a choice. You're going to go negative or you're going to go positive. Which one are you going to choose? And that is entirely up to you. That is a mental decision. And you in this moment can go, do you know what? I am not going to focus on the annoying anymore. I for whatever reason, I just keep on rabbiting on about annoying. I'm not doing that anymore. And every time, you know, I think of something annoying, I go, right, do you know what? I'm not going to think about that anymore. I'm going to go, what I do like about them is, and then you find, I try to say 2 to 3 things positive about whatever it is. So for example, you know, like we had, like I got a little bit cranky the other day because I like my nature and I like all my trees, and I went for a walk, and our a whole bunch of, like a whole forested area is just being chopped down, and I was not very happy because, you know, that's where, you know, lots of kids play. That's where they go on, you know, they used to have swings in the trees. You know, there was lots of mushrooms and, you know, herbs and things that you could forage and look for. It's a good nesting ground for all the birds there. It's right on the lakefront, so it keeps you sheltered from the wind. Nice little picnic spots, and they are literally just honing it right down to the ground. And I got to be honest, I wasn't in a good space. You know, I was like, that really doesn't work for me, you know. And I was just like, you know, and I understand, and I could be wrong with this, but there was no public notice. And I think it's because there's some flash houses that are going up and they want the views of the lake. I'm assuming that that's why it's being done. I think there's a new subdivision or something that's going in there. And I wasn't happy about it, but it's just like, do you know what? Am I going to let that ruin my day? Am I going to focus on that? I mean, I'm not happy about it, and I would really rather they didn't do it. And yes, I would probably say something to council about that, because at least there could have been public notice or something. Maybe there was, but I didn't see it, where, you know, that could have been prevented. But it's like, on the upside of it, you know, you can go, well, do you know what? I'm not going to let that bring me down, and I'm not going to focus on it, and I'm not going to be this angry, bitter person for the remainder of the day, you know. So it's a choice thing. It's happened. The trees have gone. It is what it is. Accept. You've got to get your acceptance shoes on, haven't you? You don't really have a choice. And it's just like how I choose to react to it. Remember, this is one of the things that I've been saying for years. I can't change what happens, but I can change how you react to it. Okay. And you can manage your emotions. So I could choose to be annoyed about that and choose to be really annoyed about that, which I was, if I'm honest, for a while. And you go, do you know what? This is not serving me. The trees are gone. They've already chopped them down. You know, there's literally just, you know, branches and whatnot left now. And you go, but you know what? This part of the walk, that hasn't happened, and it's still beautiful, and I still got the lake, and I still got the mountains, I still got the sunshine. So I actually have a lot to be grateful for. So anyway, take a log. What are your top negativity words? And maybe you can, you know, say what they are, put them in the comments box below. And if you're finding this useful, I would really be grateful if you would like, share, subscribe, and pass this on to people where you think, you know, it could make a difference to them in their lives, because I would love to get as many wonderful ladies, you know, on their own shoes, on their own path, wearing their own shoes, going their own way. Okay. All right. Well, you have a delightful day, and namaste.